All right, let's look at how to set up and what to consider when you are building out a web and mobile ad. Once you click Let's Go, this pulls up a campaign setup. These are standard display banner campaigns that get served across the web. So we'll talk a little bit more about targeting in a moment, but let's just start from the top. We're going to name this test campaign. Under advertising dates here, you'll see, let's say we want to go live with this on Friday the 29th. These ads, to kind of take a step back, these ads can be used, of course, for show marketing. If you're promoting an upcoming event or you're selling tickets to a show, a concert, a festival, any type of event, really. Or if you're releasing music, which is what a lot of folks using this platform are focusing on, it can also be used for music release strategies. So whether you're going on sale with a show on a Friday the 29th, or maybe you're releasing a single or an upcoming release, album release, you can select your date here. Let's say it's going to start on the 29th. Let's just say for this example, we're going to run it through the 12th. So it'll be a 2-week time span here. With budget, there is no minimum spend. You can literally run a campaign for $25, but you can run it up to $25,000 if you want it as well. Obviously, the more spend you use, the further your reach and the further your budget can go, and really the better the results will be typically, because you're able to, the platform auto optimizes and learns. But for today's purposes, we're just going to start with a $500 budget for examples, or for example purposes. You'll see this $500. It takes that 500, basically breaks it down over the flight dates here. So over a 2-week span, that's roughly 14 days. About $34.58 on average per day will be what the spend is. Now with location targeting, you can go broad. So if you're promoting an upcoming release or a single or a music you just recently released, you could do all of the United States. Let's see here. You can do countries, states, cities, zip codes. It really doesn't matter. I think the computer's running a little slow since I'm videoing here, but or recording. But so you could do you see here the states, United States. You could also do Los Angeles, different cities. Let's just say we're going to do the U.S. and we'll do maybe the United Kingdom. So on our web and mobile ads, we do have international inventory. That means you can run ads really all across the globe. One thing to note with that is when we talk about targeting, of course, your audience is going to be narrowed based on that geo segment that you're targeting, whether it's U.S., United Kingdom, whether it's cities or DMAs. So just know that whenever you're kind of honing in on a specific area, when you see audience sizes, when we start talking about audience sizes over here, that's going to be, that audience size is going to be worldwide. Of course, it narrows down when you get to a specific location. So just keep that in mind. Now, one more thing before we move on for location targeting. If you are promoting concerts or selling tickets to shows, we do have DMA targeting, which is, I forget the acronym, what that actually stands for, but it's essentially a media market. So let's say you're selling tickets to a show in, I don't know, Chicago, Illinois. So if we type in Chicago, you'll see Chicago, Illinois. This is going to be your standard kind of city limits. Then Chicago, Illinois DMA, that's going to be whatever that media market is. So that could be, I'm based in North Carolina. Our media market outside of the Charlotte region is going to be, a 90-minute drive in some cases. It goes up to Boone, which is a little bit away. So just know that it could be a little bit broader, which is helpful when you're selling tickets, especially if it's a good show. A lot of times people are willing to drive up to an hour, 2 hours to go see a show. So if you're targeting a specific market, I'd recommend doing the DMA if you're doing cities. Okay, now that we've gone over that, the domain targeting options here, let's talk about targeting in general. There's two options. You have domains, which we'll talk a little bit about. These are very specific websites. And then you have interest targeting, which are going to be audiences based on people's behavior, interest, demographics, different types of characteristics. So first, to talk about domain targeting, you have two options here: premium sites versus max click sites. If we click this open, you'll see a bunch of pre-populated lists. We have different kind of categories here: business and finance, health, wellness, hobbies. But I think most of our users are focusing on music. So you can see here that we have different genre groupings as well. So let's use the rock premium site as an example here. You can, as I'm hovering over this, you'll see there's 73 domains. It's auto optimized for maximizing impressions on some of these influential rock websites. If you click the manage button here, you actually have the ability to see what that list is. We've pre-populated these lists, but we've also given you as a user the opportunity to customize these to see kind of how you seem fit based on whatever it is you're promoting. So with that being said, there are other videos out there about building out custom lists, but you could rename this. It's only going to live in your account. Let's just say you want to remove Spotify and MTV. You could do that. And let's say you want to add in, let's say NPR, just because I know they promote music as well. You can do that here. You could rename this to be Rock Plus NPR. You can name it whatever you want because it's only going to be in your account. You click create. I'm not going to click create because what you'll see here is at the top of this, these are all custom lists that we've already created. So this is where those lists will live once you create them. Okay, your other domain targeting option are going to be max click sites. These are broader lists. So you can see here, if we use that rock example, 375 domains, whereas on the premium side, we were looking at 73. So it's a much broader list of domains. It's not only rock and music sites, but it would also be kind of reaching a broader list of maybe longer tail websites such as Yahoo that reports on entertainment, or MSN, or maybe it's the Guitar Center type targeting or something. So it's a much broader list. I honestly don't see as many people using the max click side as I do now that we've given people the ability to customize their own list. So I think if you're really, in my experience, I would just come up with the targeting that you want on the domains that makes sense for whatever it is you're promoting. Again, that can be broad. If you're not promoting music, you're promoting, or let's say your music is of interest to people that like hiking and canoeing and kayaking, think about outdoor magazines, those types of things as well, if you want to make a pretty broad list. So I would focus on building out your premium site list here. And then if you want to expand that targeting outside of that, let's say we're going to use my custom Americana list. There's 21 domains on here. And now let's say I wanted to reach people that like Americana and indie music. In addition to those domains, I would then look at interest targeting, which the main difference in these two is that, as I mentioned, these are all going to be those 21 specific websites. The interest targeting is actually going to include people in different interest segments all across the web. So it would not be focusing only on those premium domains that we've talked about. But if I look at Americana, let's say I'm targeting all of these, I add these in, this is going to reach people that could be wherever they are across the internet that allow display banner placements. So if you're on a mobile device and you're playing a game and that allows third-party display banner placements, this ad could be served to you if you fall within one of these interests or behaviors. It could also be the just random websites, the mom blogs, the cooking websites, those types of things. But it's only going to target people that fall within these types of audiences all across the web. So as we talked a little bit about before, you'll see the different size audiences here. One thing to note, if you see an audience that seems duplicate, right? Like let's say, so this is a good example. You have rock music here, which is an interest segment that has 2 million people in it. This rock music interest segment has 159. So while yes, there could be some overlap in these audiences, there's most definitely people in one that aren't in the other. So I would recommend adding multiple in if you think if rock music makes sense. Don't only do one, add both, because that's expanding that audience size. You'll see here there are many other kind of targeting options. If you think that people that are into aerobics and yoga are into your type of music, you could certainly add those folks in as well. And feel free to kind of scan through this full, let me zoom out so you can see actually better. So you can scroll through this full list to see what other options are available. There's all types of stuff in here. So definitely kind of figure out who your target audience is based on the things that they may be into, or behaviors they may have, and you can add them in here. All right. So in this scenario, again, we've had custom Americana 21 domains that we've added in, and we've also added in people that fall within these interest segments, which will reach them all across the web. As we get to optimizations, this generally, you don't really need to worry about this. This is automatically going to update based on what you select up here. But if you've deployed a pixel, a Foundry pixel, and you're tracking purchase conversions, then you may want to actually do the, optimize for conversions. To note, you're only going to be able to choose clicks and engagements or conversions if you've added in these interest segments or using a remarketing campaign. So if you're only targeting domains up here, it's going to default back to this brand building because we're prioritizing getting those low cost on those premium outlets. So let's talk a little bit about that real quick because I didn't mention this. When you're looking at your custom list, what's a value of this is if we look at this custom list, let's see, manage custom Americana. Okay, this is a great example. If we look at Paste Magazine, New York Times, Rolling Stone, if I were to go direct to Rolling Stone and say, hey, I want to run ads on your website, last we checked with them, it was like a $10,000 minimum spend. They have CPMs, which is cost per 1,000 impressions. Their average CPM was like $17 to $20. So with Foundy, what we do is we've basically built this platform to be easy to use, efficient. There's no minimum spends because all of these premium outlets that we're looking at here also sell inventory out across ad exchanges and networks. So what we've done is built a system that bids in real time, looking for placements on these premium outlets with no minimum spend, and our average CPMs oftentimes come in between $3 and $5. Okay, now that I kind of updated you on that, as we get down here, here's where you would add your URL in. This would be your Foundy page or your website or your YouTube page, wherever it is. If it's a ticketing, if it's a show, you might be sending them to your website or directly to the ticketing platform that you're selling tickets on. Another thing to note is we do have this URL builder, which is essentially a Google UTM builder. So it basically allows you to add a website in. Let's just say we're going to use one of my existing clients here, resort.tryonrodeo. You can add in, different parameters here that kind of help you on the back end of Google Analytics track what it is where your traffic is coming from. So in this example, this is a display banner. We're going to call it the rodeo one because so what you're seeing it do here is it basically creates this full URL that on the back end of Google Analytics you can set up certain views so that you can see where your source traffic comes from, and these parameters will pass through. So if we click confirm, you'll see that it adds that in. Here you would either upload your own banners that you've created. We've kind of given you, some example sizes here. I would say these kind of, first few, you don't need all of them, but you need at least one, of course. 300 by 250 covers the majority of available impressions across the web. I think it's about 45%. There's a handful of these, which we have in our blog that there are four, I think, that cover about 90% of the internet. So I would at least focus on, a couple of those and definitely 300 by 250 if you can. Now, let's say you're promoting music and you don't have time to create banners or you don't have any design kind of tools in your belt. You can also create an HTML5 banner right here on the platform. There's another video for this which we can go over and you can check. But essentially, if you've created any HTML5 ads on the platform, you would toggle over from existing creatives to HTML5. And of course, you could search here. I've added one in. This is an example. Cool thing with the HTML5 is it allows you to embed a playable banner into your, or a playable widget into your banner. So in this case, I've got this muted, but you've got a YouTube video embedded into the ad unit. So if this gets delivered on rollingstone.com, somebody can literally click this play button without having to navigate away from that page and essentially watch this full video if they want. And of course, if they click in around the banner pre-order now, that's going to take them to whatever URL you've added in here. Leave this box checked. It automatically comes checked, but I would always leave it. It's creating follow-up remarketing audiences, which there's another video that can tell you a little bit more about that, but it's a great tool for building awareness and then running multiple kind of touch point campaigns to an audience you're building up off of these campaigns. From there, you can publish your ad here. You can change credit cards if you have multiple cards. You can add additional information to each invoice. So if you needed your company name or a specific project number, you can add that here. I'll show you. There's another area on the platform under account settings where you can download that invoice. If you want to get email updates, you can check this box. It will automatically add the email on file, but you could also add additional emails. It only really shares those performance updates if there's something seems to be off, if our platform is noticing a that it's underspending. Your campaign needs to broaden the audience because it's underspending. It'll give you a notification via email for that. You'll see on the right hand side here, you have a summary. One more thing to note, there is a dollar fee per creative audit. So if you upload 4 banners, let's say you're not using this HTML5 banner, but you've uploaded 3 or 4 different images that you've created, you would see a dollar fee per piece of creative. You're only charged that one time. So the first time you run a campaign with that creative, it's a dollar fee. There's a manual audit process that happens. And so that helps us cover the cost of that. So yep, then from there, all you would simply do is click publish. I'm not going to publish this one because we have many example campaigns that we can look at on the reporting side, but that is a quick overview of how to set up and what to consider when you're building out a display banner campaign. If you have any questions, please let us know, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.